Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Post Grad with Asha. And this is just not an NCE edition today. Sorry, no study information here. But I wanted to make sure that I did a video on the difference between supervision and mentorship. So, my name is Asha Creary. I am a licensed professional counselor here in the state of Texas and in the state of Missouri. And in both states, I am an approved supervisor. I do operate a small private practice in Central Texas called Crave Counseling. We're located in Round Rock and in Killeen. I'm currently a certified teacher here in the state of Texas, and I hold a national counselor certification and an RPT distinction. So the reason why I wanted to do this video today in particular is because I think this is very, very, very important for new coming graduates or even individuals that are out in the field that are really, really struggling out here on their own. So let's get started. So I want to start with the definition of both, and then we'll talk about them separately and distinctively. So according to Kathleen Gallacher, which I'm probably saying that wrong, she did a research article called Supervision, Mentoring, and Coaching, Methods for Supporting Personnel Development. Now, actually, this might have been from a book. It might actually be from a book, or it might just be her dissertation. But anyway, let's talk about supervision, or the definition that she gave us for supervision. So she said, in the education and organizational theory literature, supervision is the process of directing or guiding people to accomplish the goals of the organization in which they work. The ultimate objective of supervision is offering the agency service to the consumer in the most efficient and effective manner possible. Effective supervision accomplishes three broad purposes, including quality control, personnel development, and promoting commitment. Now, I think this was written for like organizational psychology, which is okay. We're just going to apply it to counseling and supervision, okay? So your supervisor's goal is to ensure that they're directing you and guiding you to accomplish the goals of the profession versus a specific organization. All right, so that's supervision. All right, so let's talk about mentoring, or go into the definition of mentoring. Mentoring may be defined as a caring and supportive interpersonal relationship between an experienced, more knowledgeable practitioner called a mentor and a less experienced, less knowledgeable individual called a protege or a mentee, in which the protege receives career-related and personal development benefits. Or personal benefits. Mentoring facilitates the transfer of knowledge, skills, attitudes, belief, and values between an experienced and less experienced practitioner. The essence of the relationship is that the experienced practitioner takes on a direct and personal interest in the education and development of the younger, less experienced individual. Okay? That's the difference between the two. Okay? So supervision is in regard to the profession. Mentorship is in regard to the individual. That's not to say that supervisors don't focus on the clinician or the mentee as an individual. It just means on a broader perspective, this is what I should see you doing. On a smaller scale or more individualized scale, this is what I should see you doing. Now, most supervisors serve in both roles. Now, why is it important for you as you're coming into the profession? It's important because it is going to help make sure that you don't burn out, and it is going to make sure that your needs are also being met while still supporting the needs of others. We are in a helping field. So what do you do in helping fields? You overextend yourself. So the goal is to work collaboratively with a mentor or a supervisor and a supervisor. Now, if you have a supervisor that's fortunate to do both, and according to most counseling supervision models, supervisors should serve both, but no one person can serve you at 100% capacity. So you have to be honest with yourself with what you're getting and what you're not getting. All right, so Let's dive deeper into the difference between the two and how I can best help you understand why they're important. So, supervision in regards to counseling is usually specific and task oriented. It's performance based, it's clinical, it helps you in developing your counseling skills and you're developing your counseling theoretical approach, identifying how to show up as your professional self, your identity as a profession. They help you set boundaries within the workplace or with yourself as a professional. They help you overcome struggles with the clients that you serve, and they help to protect the clients that you serve due to potential negligence or just not being aware of what should and should not be done in the counseling experience. They also help you, of course, develop your sense of self, and they are liable for your mistakes, and they're usually connected to some type of board or licensing entity. Okay, so practicum supervisors, site supervisors, they're making sure that you're doing counseling right. They're making sure you're pausing. They're making sure you're challenging your clients. They're making sure you're doing all the things. Clinical supervision, when you get a supervisor in your state that goes to your licensing board, that you and that person have a contract, their job is to make sure that you're performing as a professional in the industry. They're making sure that you are performing ethically as a professional, in an ethical way as a professional. They're making sure that you are practicing self-care as a clinician so that you don't burn out. They are making sure that you set boundaries with your supervisors. They're making sure that you learn how to advocate for yourself in this selfless industry where you are taught, not only by your program, but by society, that you're always supposed to show up at 100% and you're always supposed to give. This is a giving field. This is a field that requires you to give emotional support. It requires you to create space for capacity. It requires you to leave your stuff at the door so that you can show up for the person that comes into your new door. Okay. So I said all that to say is that their job is to make sure you are good as a professional and making sure you're ethical and making sure that you are taken care of on a professional level. That's what your supervisor is for. Now, mentor. What is your mentor for? Your mentor usually focuses on a broader scholarly and career development. Okay. Well, in regard to you as a clinician, and again, their focus, although like supervisors, they're specific to the profession. This is how you show up. This is what this looks like. This is this. Mentors are like, okay, you got that down. How can you extend yourself? How can you duplicate what you do now? How can you generate more revenue? How can you go from making 50,000 to making six figures as a clinician? How can you transfer this skill into something else? How can you stack things onto what you already do to help you get to your greatest amount of income? All right. But it's also to help you learn how to build relationships with other people. Now, supervision does that as well, but specifically to mentorship, they make sure that you're building relationships with the right people within your community. Okay. So now I'm going to move over here to what does that actually look like for you as a new associate or as a new clinician that is looking to open your own practice, or if you work for an agency and you just need more support. So mentors typically are more seasoned, not that supervisors aren't, but mentors are typically more seasoned in where you're trying to go. Okay. So yes, you can try to be a supervisor. Absolutely. Now, being a supervisor, a great supervisor, and being a stellar supervisor, those are two different experiences for people when they come to you as a supervisor. Okay. Putting it out there. No two supervisors are the same. All right. So mentors can help you when you're wanting to start your private practice. They are the people that's going to challenge you. They are the people that are going to be like, well, have you thought about this? Do you have the capacity? What's your ideal this? What does this look like for you? Where do you see yourself getting stuck? Blah, 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 blah. That's what that's going to look like. This is also somebody you can bounce ideas off of. Again, not that you can't do this in supervision, but your supervisor's main goal is to make sure that you're operating as a professional clinician. So this extra stuff of like, oh, I want to do this and I want to try this and I want to try that. Some supervisors are open to it. But when it comes to you saying, I want to create a product, your supervisors are probably not going to be helping you develop ideas. I'm not saying that there are not supervisors that do, but what I am saying is that's not what you're paying for in supervision. You're paying for supervision to be a professional clinician. With mentorship, this is what you're paying for. You're paying for somebody to say, oh yeah, I like the idea, but you should probably add this to this so that you don't have to do this. And did you think about this? And this is where you're going to get stuck at. I've seen it in my journey to getting where you're trying to go or whatever the situation is. They're also going to teach you the ropes on what to do and what not to do. Now, supervision, they teach you what to do and what not to do in a counseling experience, not in a negotiating contracts with a speaking engagement, not what to do when it comes to writing a book or developing a product or whatever that looks like for you. You're not getting that in supervision because that is more expansive than what you need or what you get in supervision. Okay. Mentors challenge you to think bigger and again, help you identify capacity. They monitor your growth in how close you're getting to where you say you're trying to go. They're also more inclined to read you. Not that your supervisors won't, but because they see you trying to get from point A to point B in your career, they're going to read you from top to bottom and be like, listen, what you say you want and how you're performing, those two things are not adding up right now in this conversation that we're having. So how are we going to get from this is what I know what I need to do to this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to come to you and show you what I've done to get there so that you can continue to pour into me to help me get closer and closer and to help me overcome the challenges I might experience to get there. Okay. Keep that in mind. All right. It's not connected to any type of licensing board. So if you want a mentor in Texas and you live in Chicago, you can get a mentor in Texas while you live in Chicago. You can get a mentor in the UK while in California. Mentors are not specific to there are no limits on who you can receive mentorship from. There are limits on who you can receive supervision from, though. So keep those things in mind. The next thing is, this is a personal relationship, right? Like, yeah, supervision, your supervisor has you in their best interest because there's liability attached to your mistakes, but it's all jumbled up in the code of ethics and the rules and the licensing board. Whereas mentorship, I have you in my best interest because I care about you as someone who's coming up behind me. Not that supervisors don't. I'm not saying they don't, but I care about you and where you're trying to go and what that looks like for you. So therefore, I ain't gonna say I can talk to you like you crazy, but I can really challenge you in a way that maybe your supervisor can't because they have to operate within a professional manner. Now, I'm not saying I'm okay with people being unprofessional. That is my biggest pet peeve. I can be a mentor / auntie to you in the field and help you get where you're going without chastising you. Okay, so I'm just gonna put that out there. So as I say that, don't look at it like, oh my gosh, she be out here reading people. No, like I'm gonna help you get where you're going, and I'm gonna support you in the most soft auntie, healthy auntie way that I could do that, you know? They take you under their wing as a mentor. Like, I want to see you go here. This is what you need to do. Let me help you. You know, that's what it looks like to be a mentor. They're usually more excited because this is a field that they truly enjoy. They love teaching. It's in them. It's in them, you know? And it's typically more informal. Now, how can I use these two things together as an intern or as an associate or as a LPC myself, right? So if you're out here in the field by yourself and you have difficult cases that come up for you, you do need consultation, not necessarily supervision, but consultation. Now, if you feel like you need supervision on a ethical dilemma, by all means, go for it. But after you get your unrestricted license, supervision becomes more so consultation than anything. So I want to make sure that I distinguish between the two. So for LPC associates who are under supervision, or for those who have gotten their unrestricted license who need additional consultation on difficult cases, that's key. You're going to be paying for that. Now, the only other difference is that consultation, if you work at a company, they could possibly be liable for the mistakes that you make based on the advice that they give you or the supervision they give you. But if you're an associate, they're 100% liable for the mistakes that you make. Okay. Now, mentorship and supervision, how do they work together? Okay. If you're wanting, and I keep going to private practice because that's where everybody is at, and I'm going to tell you why, as a fully licensed clinician, I think private practice is good. As an associate, it's great to learn the behind the scenes stuff of running a company or a business. But as a fully licensed clinician operating your own private practice, I think is great because you get 100% of the money. You're not paying an employer for a percentage of doing the work. You do everything and you get 100% of it, and you get to make or break your own time, your schedule. You can make more money or less money given where you are and what you want. So as an LPC associate or an associate or a provisionally licensed clinician, supervision is important because you're developing your sense of self. You're building more confidence in yourself as a professional providing direct services. That is important to you because it is going to help make you a stellar clinician or a more competent clinician in the field. Now, mentorship for you as an LPC associate is equally as important because it is going to help you identify transferable skills based on who you are as an individual, plus your license and certification that helps you easily transfer or get buy-in in whatever it is you're trying to do in your career. I hope that makes sense. So oftentimes when we're looking for a supervisor, we're getting a supervisor who, again, helps us with us as a professional. But they lack being able to talk to you or us about, well, how can I go from being a direct service clinician to utilization management, where I don't see clients, but because I have this license, I can pretty much work remote, work from anywhere, and work where I don't have to be face-to-face 100% of the time? Or how can I go from, okay, well, this insurance company is paying me this, and I've been with them for 5 years, and I have yet to see an increase. How do I go about asking for more money? Or this job is offering me $60,000, but this is what I come in with. This is my personality. These are my reviews. This is who I am. I'm God's gift to earth, whatever you feel, right? Well, let me help you negotiate a higher salary. Let me help you negotiate PTO. Let me help you negotiate sick days. Let me help you get into the most ideal environment for what you need and what you want for your life. Mentors also help you understand how to extend services outside of direct services. Again, product development, consultation, training, collaborating with outside agencies, project manager or program development. Your mentor can help you do these things. Why? Because they have experience in it. Now, supervisors may have experience in it, but you're not paying me for mentorship. You're paying me for supervision. So if you want mentorship, that is a very different service and experience. Okay, keep that in mind. And mentors can also help you when you're trying to do stuff. Like, that is what a mentor is for. They are like, okay, well, I know this is what my supervisor can do, and I know that my supervisor can't operate in a dual role with me. So let me go get a mentor who can do these things for me, because they're not operating within a licensing board. Are they licensed? Yes, they may be supervisors, but they're not your supervisor with the board. So they can operate a little bit different because there is no liability. One, and two, they're building a personal relationship with you. And these are typically very, very long-term relationships. Both are important. Why? Because if you are trying to be up there with the Dr. Ebony's and, some of the other big professional counselors in the industry, that's what you need. You need a mentor. Oftentimes, people who get further have mentors. Did they have supervision? Yes, we all have supervision. But they have mentors to say, no, you can do this. I don't care what your supervisor tell you. I don't know what society has told you, but you can do this. And ethically, you're able to do these things. This is what you should consider when you're doing it. Go out there, conquer the world, and let's see how far you get. And when we meet, let's go for it. So that is why both are important. So when you're as an intern, if you're not getting the mentorship piece in a way that you need it, pay for a mentor. Now, I know you're thinking, oh, supervision is already high, mentorship, I can't afford that. The difference between supervision and mentorship is that there is no set schedule usually, unless your mentor puts you on like some type of routine or regimen. It's not necessarily coaching. Your mentor will say, we can meet once a month and let's talk about everything you want to talk about. Let's talk about your career. Let's talk about where you are. Let's talk about where you're stuck. Let's talk about the relationships you have that you can capitalize off of. Let's talk about, your community, how you serve. Like, let's talk about these things. And then let's come up with something for you. Let's talk about where you're going to get, where you're trying to go. Let's go at it. And so that's really what it looks like to have both. So in supervision, pay your supervision fee. Get what you're supposed to get as a clinician, as a professional clinician. But if you're looking for something more to get you further, pay for a mentor once a month or once every 3 months or once every 2 months, whatever you're trying to do, whatever cadence you feel like you need support with to help you get where you're going, meet with somebody about that. But that is not supervision, that is mentorship. And they are also typically innovative individuals. They're like, okay, well, how can you duplicate yourself? For example, for me, I do direct services, but I also have a YouTube channel. And I get to do and talk about what I enjoy talking about, which is teaching, which is passing that exam, which is helping you see things that you didn't know was a thing. The other thing that, I have an app that's going to be coming out here really, really soon for supervision, for supervisors and for supervisees. I think it's going to be a very comprehensive app that's going to be beneficial to everyone. It's going to be called Mayvisory. When it comes out, I'll definitely do a video on it, but that should be rolling out in the fall, hopefully. But all of these things don't necessarily require me to be sitting in front of a computer at 100% for a person on the other side of the screen. And I like that because I get to drop it and be like, I hope everybody can receive this that is in this space. And people who don't have what I had when I was in my program or what my supervisor provided to me, like they don't have that. Me, I have an amazing mentor who was my supervisor. Her name is Miss Kenyatta Black Counseling. She's in Arlington. I talk to her like 4 times a week. We talk almost every day and we talk about everything. Of course, she was my supervisor. Once I got my upgrade, it turned into mentorship. That's who we are. We're a mentor. I'm in a mentor-mentee relationship with her. But she also family at this point. Now, no, you cannot have a dual relationship with your supervisee. No, I get that. She gets that. We all get that. But we didn't develop this relationship until about 5 years after. I don't know how we got so close, but it was 4 or 5 years after the fact. We just kind of kept in touch. And then I think one day we just started talking every day, and it just kind of went from there. She comes down and visits me. I go up and visit her. I'm at the holiday party. She at my holiday parties. Like it's a whole thing. But she's still my mentor. And again, you heard me mention it's informal. So she bounces ideas off me. I bounce ideas off her. And it's not always just one way. So keep those things in mind. I know this video was kind of maybe all over the place for some of you guys, but the key takeaways from this particular video is know the difference between supervision and mentorship. Know the difference between what you want and what you need and where you are in your journey. So if you are as an associate or a provisionally licensed clinician and you're under supervision, but you need the mentoring piece because you're about to upgrade your license and you really don't know where to go from there because you've always operated an agency and you're a bit more ambitious than your counselor counterparts, find a mentor. Mentors are great for ambitious people. They are great for ambitious people. They will tell you can do anything. Now, within limits, right? They're going to say, well, I'm going to challenge you on that. I know you personally. This is your personality. Are you sure you got the capacity to do this over here? Right. So yeah, I said all that to say is know the difference between the two and know what you need and pay for the things that you need. I remember it was like 4 or 5 years ago, probably when I first moved to Austin. I remember talking to a guy friend of mine, and he was like, yeah, me and my mentor are going to do this. Me and my mentor are going to do that. And I'm just like, mentor? I don't have a mentor. I've never had a mentor. And I was instantly jealous. The reason I was instantly jealous is because I felt like I didn't have anybody to kind of root for me in the background and tell me that I can do it. I was operating on fear, or I ain't gonna say fear, but faith. I kept getting these denials. I was like, maybe I'm too ambitious for these interviews. Maybe I'm seen as a threat. Like I was starting to have these doubts about like, okay, well, if these people won't hire me at a private practice, can I actually do this? But of course, my family has always taught me I can do anything. So those didn't last long. They were like a fleeting thought, so to speak. And I just went for it. I was anxious, nervous, $300 to my account. I went for it. Butterflies and all, went for it. But I think if I had had a mentor that was like, okay, these are your next steps. This is how you get here. You need to call these people, do this. I might have done some research on my own because I have a personal interest in seeing you succeed. But anyway, I remember just being jealous. Like, you eat lunch with your mentor? What? I have a mentor. Never had a mentor. And one day, my old supervisor, we developed into a mentor-mentee relationship. And I was like, I got a mentor. And I'm excited about it. And she's amazing. And so again, figure out who you want to be as a profession. Figure out what you're getting and what you're not getting. Go for what you need. Look into alternative or non-traditional ways of mentorship as well. It doesn't have to be a licensed clinician. It could be a mental health advocate that is in the nonprofit space and you want to figure out how they get all this money in grants because you have an initiative that you hold near and dear in your heart, or finding a mentor that does public speaking that can show you how to get to where you're trying to go. If you're trying to be on TV shows as a mental health consultant or as a, mental health expert on movie scenes where you're helping clients or you are helping actors and actresses get into a role or come out of a role that is mentally draining and harmful to that particular person. Find your people, pay for their time. Mentorship, you're paying for someone's expertise and you're jumping the line without having to go through the waiting period. Now, yeah, things don't happen overnight, but what I'm saying is having a mentor is career changing. So if your supervisor is great and you just want to meet with a mentor once a month because you're struggling with your site and you're trying to find something else where you can still get direct services based on your personality, because I know a lot of supervisors don't help with placement. They will just be your supervisor, take your money every month, even if you ain't seen one client. That is a red flag to me. And it's also a question you need to ask. Like, okay, what happens if I haven't seen a client? What does that look like for me in supervision? Because what am I supervising? And then you're going to be under my license for an extended period? That's too much of a liability. Okay, but anyway, at this point I'm rambling, but I wanted to make sure I broke down the difference between the two and why both are important for you as a clinician. Supervisors are mandated. Those are requirements. That's what you need to get your upgrade, to get your unrestricted license. But mentorship is like, I don't know. It's the cream of the crop. Like, you got a good supervisor and you got a good mentor, putting those two together, you'll be where you want to be in no time. And again, they're two different things, but they are both equally important to your career. Now, I digress. Use both. No matter where you are in the field, you still need a mentor. I have a mentor. And if you go into your own private practice, what you'll learn is that you're going to be tweaking every week. You're going to tweak every week, especially if you have employees. Now, if you're just in your own private practice and you're operating, it's easier to float. But when you got a team, that's a whole different beast. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you guys were able to maintain your attention span, but know the difference between the two, know what you need, know where you are, know what you're not getting, and go for it. And don't forget, you got to pay for it sometimes. And sometimes it's not a direct fee. Sometimes it's, hey, can I take you to lunch and pick your ear? That can look like a mentorship relationship. Again, it's not formal. Mentorship is not formal. There's no formal way of being in a mentorship experience with someone else. So, see y'all later. Like, subscribe, share with somebody you know if it is important to them. And I will again be dropping the supervision link for supervision for those in Texas that are looking for a supervisor or that just wants to interview with me and see if we're a good fit. There will be a link below. And then there will also be a link for mentorship. So if you're an LPC associate, or if you're an LPC and you work for an agency and you kind of want to start your own practice on the side, I will be holding 45-minute mentorship meetings on Sundays. This just don't even sound like my personality. I sound like those gurus online trying to get people to buy a product. But anyway, I will put both of those things there for your benefit. Read over it, go through it, look at what makes sense to you. And then the third link, or the other link that you will see on the links below, is going to be intake forms or rate increase request forms, like all these different things for you. And so, yeah, take what you need, go for what you want. You don't need to call me to get those forms, pay for them on the website. Most of them are very, very budget friendly, $5 form here, $3 form there. Take what you need. Bye.